Okay, so today I am going to be covering basically investments. What should you be investing on and how you can decide what you want to invest on. And this is honestly all dependent on what you are doing with your game right now. For example, I am investing on tarantulas. So I'm gonna probably end up just buying the rest of the tarantula silk to tier 7, which is around like 500 silk, I believe. Maybe a little more. So I can make the tarantulas work faster and I can profit more from it. If you're playing dungeons, then you probably want to use the money you get from dungeons and invest it on better gear, better weapons, and just so you can prepare for the next floor or just be stronger in general. If you're prepping for mining, then of course you want the best pickaxe, drill, armor. Farming, you want the best hoe, all that kind of stuff. So this is basically just a whole decision making process. Let me just kill these guys so I don't lag as much, because there shouldn't be that many tarantulas. Because every 30 seconds I do end up killing them with this. So let's use my tarantula farm as an example. I spent I don't know how much I spent on the tarantula minions itself, but I spent around 100 million for this axe and a Necron helmet. And I made a video covering how much I made from it. And I already made back enough to pay back for the Daedalus axe. So it's like I never spent anything at all for this axe. I technically already made enough for the Necron helmet, but I decided to just buy minion expanders and enchanted hoppers for my tarantula so they can work more efficiently. So I would say I still need a little bit more because I already spent the money. So I'm okay with that. It's literally just me sitting here anyway. Yeah, I'm just literally sitting here and I'm letting AFKing work for me, as you can see. And that's what I'm investing on. Another thing I'm investing on is of course making my cactus farm better, but this is really cheap. So again, it's really dependent on what you want. So if you're focusing on dungeons, then let's say you have adaptive armor. Maybe you want to go for Shadow Assassin next. As you can see, pretty expensive if I go to lowest bid, bin only. Shadow Assassin, 1 mil. Let's say you want 5-star because everyone wants 5-star. Shadow Assassin boots. The cheapest one is 2 mil. Helmet is, you know what, let's just filter this to legendary at least. Because I know there's mythic. But let's just put legendary as the minimum. So let's go to boots again. Did I? Okay, let me change it real quick. Boots. So 2.2 mil is the same thing. The helmet is 2.5. Leggings is basically 5 mil. And chest piece is 20 mil. So as you can see, really expensive, but it'll be well worth it if you can afford this. So save and basically immediately spend for this so that you can use this new armor set to make things easier to maybe grind for a weapon. Let's say you have, I don't know, Flower of Truth. I think these things are not as good these days, but it's still a pretty decent weapon. So Flower of Truth, maybe you want a Livid dagger. Maybe you want, I don't know, a, what is it called? Midas staff. Yeah, maybe you want something like a Midas staff, 100 mil one, right? Yeah, 100 mil Midas staff if you want. I honestly wouldn't recommend it. But if you do want it, by all means, go ahead. I won't stop you from buying it. It is pretty expensive though, but if you want a Midas staff, go for it. If you want just whatever you want, even if it's something like a Hyperion, which is 800 million coins. Let me do no filter, show all. Hyperion, 760 million coins, even if it's just for this. Or I guess a dark Claymore, which is wow, you are cheap. Wow, you are cheap. Well, not when you start it, but wow, that is actually really cheap. Dark Claymore, Valkyrie. This is just for dungeons. If you're focusing on mining for money, then maybe you want the best drill. Well, I don't know the names of the drills, so let's just say something like this, maybe. Like this drill right here, which is 100 mil. I don't know what drill it is, but probably a good one. But you can see the price of the drill, really expensive. And for farming, of course, you would want the hoe of your desired crop, which again, still not cheap. You would have to grind because that's the only way to improve your hoe. And for minions, of course, you want to invest on materials. Just basically, whatever thing you're focusing on, focus on it completely. Don't stray away from it because that will eventually just slow you down. Like, let's say you are focusing on dungeons, but you want a new, I guess, drill. Just when exactly are you going to use that drill? Just think about that and just decide on your own. If you're actually going to use that drill, then by all means buy the drill. But if you're not going to use that drill until like who knows when, then don't even buy it. The drill's not going to go anywhere. Buy like your new sword, buy some new armor, um buy a new pet, buy some new accessories, talismans, um maybe upgrade your stars, just do something related to what you're doing. Because if you stray away from it, then it's just going to take longer for you to progress with whatever you're doing. So, yeah, just focus on what you're doing. You wouldn't want to buy a drill when you're focusing on farming, and you wouldn't want to buy a sword when you're focusing on mining because you need a pickaxe. So, again, focus on what you want and just completely stay with that route. Of course, if you're doing dungeons and want to do slayers, they go in hand because your gear is you're basically doing the same thing. The better your gear, the easier slayers will be. The better your gear, the easier dungeons will be. So it works together. So that's fine. But if it's for something like farming or mining, completely stay with farming or mining until you are like, unless you want to take like a break and want to do something else like dungeons or just do other investments. This goes well with bazaar flipping as well, bazaar auction flipping. Invest in a certain thing and do something else. Like, let's say you want to invest like 30 mil on, I don't know what's good for flipping right now. I haven't recently checked. Let's just go with my go-to. One of my safer options is, of course, fish. Let's say you want to invest 20, 30 mil on this. So go ahead, invest 20, 30 mil on it. And while you're doing that, just if you have a farm set up, then by all means farm. It's going to just get you more money to invest with. Or you can use that time to look for an auction flip you want. Just stick with what you're doing. For me, I'm sticking with my minions. These guys are expensive. Just imagine having 25 or even 30, because eventually I'm going to have 30. 30 tier 11 tarantula minions just working on your island. That is so much money to spend, and that is going to take so long for them to pay themselves off, because tarantula soak is not cheap. Just buying the web is actually really expensive. 20k web, it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. I had to buy several orders of that just to get where I am now. And I'm honestly just debating on whether I should just buy the silk or not as it is. Make it easier for myself. So I am just gonna invest on tarantulas. So investments, go ahead and decide what you want. If you want to invest on a farm, if you want to invest on mining, if you want to invest on a sword, armor, and whatever that investment is, stick with it until you actually get it. If you're set on a sword, do not buy anything else but that sword. If you want armor, then do not buy anything else besides that armor set. If you want to upgrade your minions, then fully invest in minions. Just focus on one thing at a time, and it'll eventually build itself up. So that's like my bit of advice. I know, like, it's basically just saying make your own choices, but that's basically what this whole game is. You make your own choices depending on what you want to do. And depending on what you want to do is how much money you'll be making. It will determine what you're going to be investing on in the future. And it will determine your whole grind process. For me, it's just sitting here. For farming, it's basically just you running around the same area of your island, farming the same crops. For mining, it's the dwarven mines. For dungeons and slayers, it's just dungeons and slayers. Whatever floor you want, whatever boss you want. And yeah. So if you want to get anything out of this, it's basically do one thing at a time. You don't want to do multiple things at the same time because it'll just slow you down. And that was honestly one mistake I did, because I was trying to do multiple things at the same time, but ended up slowing down my own progress. And that was honestly why things started to slow down for me. And to be honest, if I focused on only one thing while I was grinding for my original Hyperion, I probably would have gotten it way faster than a month. Maybe like 2-3 weeks, maybe less than that. I would have probably gotten it with dedicated grinding. So yeah, decision making is very important, and hopefully this will help you make your decisions on what you should invest on in order to make more money in the future.